my recording so that I can post this on YouTube later. And let's go ahead and get started. So welcome everybody. We have over 100 people attending right now, so that's pretty great. So here's a little sneak peek into what the rotations are going to look like this year at camp. The biggest thing to note is that Monday through Thursday, we're going to have 5 program times available to everybody. And then on Friday, we're going to have 4 program times available for everybody. So 2 program times in the morning block, 2 program times in the afternoon block, and then 1 program block or program time in the evening block, each lasting an hour and a half. This gives us enough rotations for every unit / community to visit each program area twice throughout their week. So we really wanted to give everybody as much time in the areas as possible. And we came up with this schedule that kind of helps us to do that. So you'll notice that our breakfast time starts at 8 to 8:45. Our lunch time is 45 minutes and our dinner time is an hour and a half. That's so that we can still offer that patrol style cooking and give troops enough time to cook that dinner. We'll go into a little bit of why lunch is a little bit shorter in just a few minutes. But no worries, we've tried to keep everything in account as we've continued to develop the schedule. So moving on, some things of note about program. So how the program rotation is going to work. So Sunday, all of the scouts, they're going to come into camp. You'll be receiving a call of a scheduled time to come to camp 1 week prior to your reservation by our Commissioner, Grant Thomas. So 1 week before you're going to show up, Grant will give you a call and he will set a arrival time with your troop. It's incredibly important that you try to keep to your arrival time as much as possible. We're going to be doing check-in a little bit differently this year than we've done in years past. So instead of everybody coming in and all of us kind of doing the check-ins as we come in and everything like that, instead what we're going to do is do check-ins on a vehicle by vehicle basis. So a vehicle comes to camp, they give us their pre-camp health screens that we are going to have everybody fill out. And that will be available next week and will be given to everybody as a part of the commissioner calls that Grant's going to be doing. We'll then do another health screening upon arrival. If anybody fails that screening, we're going to ask that entire vehicle to turn around and go home. So another thing is scouts will go through the check-in process and health checks in the parking lot. Like I said, scouts will be assigned a swim check time to complete swim checks at camp. So upon arrival, upon check-in, you'll receive an assigned time to be down at the swim beach so that you're able to go to the swim beach when nobody else is there, when no other community is there, to keep with the social distance practices. Dinner is going to be camp-wide on Sunday night. So everybody's going to be in the dining hall and it's going to be followed by in-camp campfire programs. So one of the things that we're trying to do before camp starts is we're talking to a bunch of tent vendors to get a large tent on the outside of the dining hall, and so that we can support all of our units in the dining hall and the tent on the side at one time in order for us to feed everybody on that first day of arrival. So instead of camp-wide program where we all come down to the fire bowl and we all do the big fire bowl, we're going to be sending staff to each campsite with some s'mores, with some activities, with some fun, and we're going to be doing in-camp campfires on that first night, that first arrival. Monday through Thursday, scouts will rotate with their community to each program area twice throughout the week at camp. During the community's time in the program area, all programs and merit badges in that area will be available for scouts to participate in. So that's really important. If you go down to outdoor skills and you want to do first aid, and you have some scouts that want to do camping, there's some scouts that want to do pioneering, we're going to be offering all of those merit badges at one time. So you can rotate between them. Same kind of deal with our open program. We're trying to keep the heart of that alive this year, even though we have a closed program rotation. So you can come down to an area, you can do any of the merit badges, you can leave a merit badge in the middle of it and go and join another merit badge instead. In order to help facilitate some fun and excitement for our older scouts that may have all of the merit badges in an area, we're also going to offer the special program in that area during that time as well. So things like branding and tie-dye, the volcano experiment, all that fun stuff that isn't a merit badge, but is fun and exciting for scouts to do, we're going to allow you to come in and do that. And then there's going to be a total of the 5 1.5 hour blocks of program each day. So we've packed it as much as we can with fun and excitement and cool things to do, so that you don't ever have a time where you feel like you're lollygagging or don't have anything to do in the campsite. So on Friday, camp-wide games will not be happening this year, and instead we're going to be offering 4 program rotations on that day, and then another in-camp closing campfire. So another thing of importance on that day is we're going to be doing a camp-wide meal on Friday as well. That way it gives our patrol-style cooking troops a chance to pack up Friday night, Friday afternoon, so that we're not in a big rush on Saturday morning trying to get out in time. So some other important parts about program. Some merit badges won't be offered this year. Like I stated in our video that we had before, with the Yellow River Adventure Base closing down, some of the merit badges won't be offered. And then we looked at our other merit badges and kind of determined, can we do this safely with a lot of scouts coming through our program? Can we do this effectively? And can we give the scouts an experience that really feels important and like they're getting everything they want out of the area? So with that, the merit badges that will not be offered this summer include cooking, rowing, robotics, movie making, metalworking, cycling, climbing, and golf. So just some reasoning so everybody can be on the same page. The last 3, cycling, climbing, and golf, were all part of the Yellow River Adventure Base and require off-camp trips in order to complete. So with us not being able to transport people, we just weren't able to do that. The cooking merit badge is incredibly intensive. So a scout would basically have to spend their entire week multiple times over different program blocks in order to complete that. The rowing merit badge was dropped so that we could offer more exciting things at the boat beach without expanding our staff to 20 people. So being able to do things like motorboating and tubing and jet skis took precedence over the rowing merit badge this year. Robotics and movie making, just the different parts that have to be handled between scouts and not a really good way to disinfect electronics. We wouldn't be able to do that. And then the metalworking merit badge. So we're still going to operate the forge this year, which is really important to say. So scouts can still come down to the forge and they can hang out and they can do metalworking and have a lot of fun, but we're not going to be able to complete the entire merit badge at camp, so we're not going to be able to offer it this year. We'd only be able to get about a requirement or 2 done, and that isn't including all of the safety that has to go into it and all that fun stuff. So, but this still leaves us with over 40 plus merit badges that we're going to be offering at Ed Bryant this summer, which is still pretty impressive. So other programs that won't be offered this summer include ATVs and special shooting sports activities. Something really important to note about the special shooting sports activities, all of the merit badges will still be offered. And we'll talk a little bit about how we're going to offer those and a little bit about how it's going to fit into the grand scheme of things with the limited time that we have in each area. I think one of my slides got deleted. So back on this program idea of the merit badges are still going to be offered. We're going to have prerequisites that are going to be posted tonight onto our council Facebook page. It's also going to be posted, a link to it in this video description on YouTube, as well as in the email, the Facebook post, and all of that fun stuff that's going to come along with this video coming out. The prerequisites are things that should be done before you go to camp. We have them every year. This time it's going to be done a little bit different. So along with prerequisites, we're also going to offer an online community Dropbox for scouts to be able to put their prerequisite work and any work that they could do outside of camp into this Dropbox for their week. So let's say they go and take a merit badge at the EcoCon area, where they have to sit in an area for 30 minutes of time, multiple areas, and they have to observe nature. Instead of having to try to do that all at camp and trying to juggle everything and trying to do it in the hour and a half that they have at the area, they can focus on those in-person requirements that really matter, like discussions and showing and demonstrating and all that fun stuff. And they can take the reports that they would have done of, I went to a swamp and I observed the toads and the birds and the animals and the swamp life and everything was great. They can take that report and put it on their online Dropbox, and counselors will look at that later and they'll be able to check off requirements up to a week after you've left camp. So from the the Saturday when you leave to next Saturday, you can upload things to the Dropbox and we guarantee that we'll take a look at it. Of course, let's say a scout thought that he uploaded something or thought that she uploaded something and they didn't, and they have to upload it later. You can, of course, send us an email and we'll go back to your week's Dropbox and take a look at everything that's in there. So in terms of food, we're going to be offering our typical options of dining hall and patrol cooking. For dining hall, each of the meals will be sent in the dining hall. Limited dining hall programs going to be offered this year. So as much as you all love me jumping on tables and shouting boom chicka boom, we'll still be doing some songs and some activities, but it's going to be limited. We're not going to be traveling around the dining hall as much. Instead, we'll be focusing on those small communities within the dining hall. Staff will be sitting separately from the scouts this year in order to maintain social distancing. Pre-plated food will be available and handed out by the staff. So instead of being able to sit down and do the family style, where you're able to sit down with a bowl of potatoes and pass it around, we're instead going to put the potatoes and the gravy and everything on one plate. Things that you don't want will just have to go into the garbage, unfortunately, but with everything into account, we figured this was the best way to go about it. And then the dining tent outside to offer more seating. For patrol cooking, dining hall meals will be for Sunday dinner and Friday dinner. All other breakfasts and dinners will be offered in the campsite. So all breakfasts, all dinners, you can cook on your own. Life is good. Some important things is that we're going to be doing all of the lunches by brown paper bag and box delivery to assigned lunchtime areas. So places like the program center, the dining hall, first year camper and handicraft area, places with a lot of seating, fit a lot of scouts, and a nice spaced out area. We're going to be doing those brown paper bag lunches. That way we can spend our 45 minutes making the most out of it and then getting right back on the trail and back onto doing really fun and exciting stuff. So at check-in, we'll be assigning you your lunchtime area. We're trying to do it pretty smart to where you don't have to walk, 45 minutes across camp in order to get to, our camp's not that large, but you don't have to walk the entire 20 minutes across camp in order to get to where you're going to eat lunch at. So this is going to help us with the ability of us, transporting hot food, the ability of us giving a meal that actually isn't soggy and all wet. And we're hoping that it's going to be able to provide the best lunch to you guys as possible. So some frequently asked questions. Who will my troop interact with? Troops will be separated in communities based on their campsites. Communities will not exceed 40 people. So these larger troops will be contacted next week in regards to splitting those numbers up into different communities. How is sanitation being dealt with? We've hired a full-time sanitation crew for our summer camp, and their entire job is going around to these high traffic areas like showers, bathrooms, looking at the door handles of the dining hall, and sanitizing them as frequent as possible. We're hoping at the top of every 2 to 3 hours is when we're going to be able to sanitize everything and get it all cleaned up, ready to go for the next people to use. During high traffic hours like meal times or early in the morning when adult leaders take showers, or late at night when scouts take showers, we'll also be putting people outside of the showers to help sanitize between uses. So what if a merit badge cannot be completed within the time provided? I already talked about this a little bit, but we're offering an online way to complete merit badges this summer. Like I said, if a scout has to go and do all these cool things for EcoCon but doesn't have enough time during their hour-and-a-half blocks at EcoCon to complete them, they can turn it in via a Google document or a Word document or a PDF or whatever it may be to an online Dropbox that we can review up to a week after you've left camp. What are the program rotations? So shooting sports, swim beach, time in the campsite, silver circle, scoutcraft, boat beach, first year camper, the program center and trading post, the swamp, which is handicraft, EcoCon, and an OA area are what we're going to be doing this summer. So scouts will rotate between each of the areas, hour-and-a-half blocks twice a week. So will there be opportunities for scouts to buy things at the trading posts? Of course. We love nothing more than providing scouts a whole bunch of sugary goodness and, mementos that they can take home later on to remember camp years down the line. So not only do scouts have rotation periods where they'll be at the trading post, at the program center, able to do all the things around the program center, but we're also looking at how we can do things like online ordering, how we can do things like order forms. Can we add kiosks around camp for people to put their orders in? So these are all things that we're looking at and that we're exploring and figuring out, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities to buy things at the trading post before camp, at camp, and so on and so forth. What is happening with aquatics? So first, aquatics will not require face coverings while scouts are on or in the lake. So when you're sitting in the pavilion and you're all hanging out doing discussion about the different merit badges, will require you to use face coverings. But when you're actually on the lake, in the lake, or going to the lake, you don't have to worry about them. What we've realized about the virus and what CDC has been talking about, what the ACA has been talking about, all these different organizations have been talking about, is that the virus is pretty fragile. While it's pretty infectious, it's pretty fragile as well. So things like UV light make it much less of a risk. Secondly, all of our programs besides our beaches, or besides rowing, will be offered at the beaches during your rotation. So you'll have plenty of time to get on the banana tube and have fun, or you're going to be able to ride jet skis as well. What about shooting sports? So like I said, shooting sports activities are still offered at each range this summer. So scouts will continue to be able to shoot a .22 rifle, a bow, or one of our shotguns while at camp. Merit badge reporting, do we need blue cards? So for most of our participants, you know that we moved away from blue cards the last few years. And by few years, I mean 5, 6, 7. So we actually do an online system to track all of our merit badge reporting, and then you can print off the blue cards at your own convenience at home after you're already back from summer camp. It's really nice because we don't have to worry about, especially in the time now, we don't have to worry about scouts transferring blue cards between people, adult leaders transferring blue cards, staff transferring blue cards. We just have to worry about, on a piece of paper, I check your requirement off next to your name and you're good to go. Can a scout or adult stay in their campsite during a program block? Yes. As long as the buddy system and 2 deep leadership is followed, participants are allowed to stay in their campsite during the program blocks. But it's important to note that they have to stay in their campsite, or they have to at least follow social distancing rules when they're going to the shower or to the bathroom or to wherever they're going, which is pretty much those 2 areas, or going into the woods to go and do their nature thing or whatever it may be. You need to follow social distancing, wear your face coverings, and stay in your campsite as much as possible. Are there adult leaders in SPL meetings? So in-person meetings will not occur this summer. Instead, scouts and leaders can look for our EBSR daily news, which outlines important topics for each day. I'll also be putting my phone number on there so you can give me a text or a call or anything that you have questions about throughout the day. Is there Wi-Fi? There is Wi-Fi available in our dining hall, program center pavilion, and our main office. And to accommodate leaders who have to work or who have work needs that need to be met while they're at camp, we will have workstations in the dining hall for leaders to use. So there'll be power there, there'll be a table set up on the side, and then you kind of just come in and sit at one of the workstations with your laptop and you're good to go. And then showers will be available in the morning, at meals, with sanitation occurring between each user, and then also, of course, at night after program is ended. So we've really decided that the best way, and we're still looking at how we can best split up the showers with our new shower house being put in over in the program center for adults. We're looking at how we can best serve each of our different populaces and the different showers using what we have and using the time that we have. So with that, that's the end of my presentation. There's already a couple of questions that I can answer inside of the chat, so I'll get to those. And then if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll spend the next couple of minutes answering them. Will vegetarian lunches be available? Yeah, so that's a big reason as to why we want to know, or why we're assigning the different areas for you to go and have your brown paper bag lunch in or your box lunch in, is so that we can keep track of who's going there and what dietary needs need to be met while we're there. So we'll have different bags or boxes marked for the different gluten-free or vegetarian, so that we can hand those out to the people who need them. A whole rotation will be dedicated to spending time at the training post? Correct. A whole rotation, an entire hour and a half, will be at the program center / trading post, and that's to allow you to be able to shop at the trading post, following keeping our distance, social distances, face coverings, all that good stuff. This also gives you time in order to play horseshoes, or we're looking at other activities that we can offer in the program center as well, seeing what we can do about Gaga Ball, seeing what we can do about Foursquare, and seeing what kind of activities we can offer that are more fun and aimed towards scouts outside of merit badges. The arrival time range will be between 11:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. So I'll go ahead and go back to the program areas so that you can write them down. But we'll do shooting sports, swim beach, campsite, silver circle, scoutcraft, boat beach, first year camper, the program center / trading post, the swamp, EcoCon, OA. As long as a doctor, so in terms of a virtual physical, as long as the doctor fills out Part C or they are giving a physical to the scout, as long as they're comfortable doing it and they're good with everything, then we will accept any physical as long as it's attached to the medical form. So we do need a copy on file. So we don't provide face masks, we're providing a face covering. So the CDC guidelines say that not scouts, but people should be wearing face coverings. So we are providing the buff that was on that first page. It's a light thin material that's pretty breathable, in the idea that in terms of face coverings, it allows for somebody to wear it most of the day. It's what most people at like construction sites wear, but it's not breathable in the fact that it limits how far our air is able to travel. Severe weather plan, that's a really good one. So we're going to be sectioning off different parts of the dining hall for season and the shower house for different troops and communities to stand in case of severe weather. The idea is that we're able to separate people pretty effectively in the 400-person dining hall when there's not supposed to be more than, I think our largest week right now has about 250 people in camp. So being able to space everybody out into the designated areas, which will designate to you upon check-in, and we'll show to you that's basically where you're going to be eating all of your meals at, is going to be relatively easy. Who needs special doctor approval for attendance? Is there an age for this requirement? So 65 plus is that kind of age range that the CDC says is at high risk. If you have other big medical issues that you think would apply to COVID, then plan to get special doctor's approval. You don't have to sign up for merit badges. All of the merit badges are going to be open program. So you're going to go to an area, and then all of the merit badges within that area are available for you to do at camp. Adult leaders will not be able to leave camp during the week for supplies or other needs. If there's certain things that you guys need while you're at camp, you can come and talk to the camp leadership. So me or our program director, Liam, or one of the other admin team, and we can try to, we have a stock of things that we're keeping on camp, but anything that you need, you should plan to bring to camp. We're also planning on providing some extra area to make accommodations for everybody. So while you can't leave during the week of camp, unless it's an emergency, we're trying to keep it to where we stock everything that you would need and provide most things for free. Two Deep leadership is not required at or between program areas, but definitely when you're sleeping and things like that, so scouts typically walk and wander by themselves during the week. We tend to trust our scouts and say that a scout is trustworthy. So we expect that they'd be able to follow the guidelines in order to go between the areas. It's really important, though, that if people break the guidelines, it's understood that we will ask them to go home. So that's important to share with people coming to camp, is these guidelines are in place for a reason, and folks that decide to break them will be asked to go home. We're going to be doing our best to offer seconds available for food. So offering little side dishes for some of our main courses, yes. There is no horseback riding. The jet skis are still for scouts 14 and older, and it's just for those block periods. So we're kind of figuring out how that's going to work between everybody there. But still, they're going to be offered this year, 14 and up. There will be slushies, no worries. You can tell your friend that there will be slushies. So steak dinner this year is going to be done on Friday night. Instead of on Thursday night, we're going to make it that Friday night where everybody's in the dining hall anyways, just so that we can kind of keep everybody together. It's something really important that we do. No council visitors will be up during that time, but we will look towards doing like maybe a Zoom where you guys can listen to Alex talk, or maybe I'll do the spiel instead. We're still kind of deciding that one, but the steak dinner is still planned. So for health forms, so for everybody, health form Part C is accepted from February 2019 and forward. That's also for physicals. So any physicals that you have from February 2019 or forward is also accepted for this year. So if you're interested in, or if you have a sports physical through school or something like that, then that's something that you can still do as long as it's February 2019 or forward. The process on cancellations and refunds. So 2 weeks prior to your week at camp that you've signed up for, you can request a refund via writing. So that either means mail or send me and Skylar Fitzgerald. Both of our contact information are on the council website. Email both of us and we can give you a form to fill out. It goes over our different options that we have for refunds. So you can either take your amount and apply it to next year. You can still reserve your site, but receive a full refund. So you can reserve your site for next year with that $250 deposit and then get the rest of your money back. There's stewardship opportunities for our Camp Stewards program and other things like that. The OA Ordeal program will not be offered this year. We are still offering the Brotherhood program. The OA will have a big presence at camp still this year. We're going to be talking about what we're going to be doing at our fall conference, talking about with each group of scouts and scouters, the leadership opportunities, the leadership training opportunities, the different opportunities that we'll have in the off season for all of the different fun stuff that we typically do with the OA. And that's what that block's going to be spent doing, along with a few merit badges that we have to offer there as well. You do not have to buy the face mask. So we're not offering a face mask. It's a coat buff. It's a face covering. The face covering comes for every participant for free. So there is a possibility that we'll be combining small troops with other small troops, but we are taking into consideration that some of our troops are from Illinois, some of our troopers are from Wisconsin. So we're currently working on creating a best case scenario of how can we combine people in the different geographical locations. A new leader guide will be posted. It's going to be our current leader guide along with these webinars with redacted information of what we're missing. So like I said, face coverings are going to be required basically at all times besides swimming, besides boat beach, besides when you're eating in the dining hall, or when you're actually in your own tent. If you have health concerns about that, you're more than welcome to tell us about that before arrival, and we're willing to work with people as we see fit. Part of the CDC guidelines say if you have a health issue that prevents you to have a face covering, then you can go without the face covering. But it's something that we need to know and needs to be on your health form. It's not something that you can just say is there, and then it's something that you have to share with our health officer. So our first year camper rotation is going to be open. It's just the area that we're using is the first year camper area, but in terms of what we're actually going to be doing there, it's still going to be merit badges along with some first year camper program. So even scouts who have no interest in the first year camper program because they're 15, 16, 17 will still have merit badges offered in that area for them to do. Will swim checks taken before camp at the troop level be honored? Yes, they will. You need to bring us a copy of your swim checks to camp, or Grant will also be asking that question during his pre-camp phone call that he's going to be doing. So if you have that, you'll send it to him so he can get it to your site commissioner. That way, upon arrival, all of your buddy tags will already be down at the swim beach, in the boat beach, ready to go. Connie, that's a great question. If anyone in a vehicle fails the entry test, everyone in the vehicle goes home, do you suggest we encourage scouts to come up in personal cars? And if so, will the parent and driver be given the screening to. So anybody that comes onto camp will be doing the screening for. Anybody who tests positive in that car will go home. So the more that you can spread stuff out, the better it's going to be. No camps will be able to be brought to camp. Sorry, no bikes will be able to be brought to camp this summer. We typically don't offer bikes on camp. So we're offering one switch day for leaders, and that's on Wednesday. So to limit the amount of people that come and go throughout the week, we're asking that if any switch of adult leaders, so if somebody can only make 3 days and somebody else can only make 3 days or whatever it may be, we're asking that you do that switch on Wednesday. So that's a great question. How would you handle the possibility of a false negative forehead temperature if a kid was hot from running around? So that's a great question. Basically, what our go-to procedures are is we use a touchless thermometer in order to see what the scout's temperature is. And then let's say they have a high temp. We would take them into our health lodge, into the quarantine area, and let them sit in the air conditioning for 30 minutes. And then we retest them with a mouth thermometer, so in the mouth thermometer. If they retest at that point, then we send them home. If we are testing temps and symptoms at each meal, is the camp providing thermometers for each unit? Yes, we are. So we've already put in the order for a bunch of touchless thermometers that will be available for each unit to take into their campsite to do all those screenings during the week. There is not a limit of number of people who can request dining hall versus patrol style cooking. Because we're planning to bring everybody into the dining hall at one point or another, we are planning on making sure that there's enough seating with, you know, that social distancing being followed for everybody on camp. We're also increasing our hand washing stations, hand sanitation stations, and then also giving a small 2-ounce bottle of hand sanitizer to each camp or each participant that comes to camp. And that's theirs to keep. So if there's some scouts that want a refund versus the entire troop, we can make that happen. If most of the troop has dropped out, but there's some scouts that want to come, we're offering a provisional option, but we do ask that any adults that are willing to come with them do come with them. So one of the things that we want to make sure is that with our provisional option, we have enough leadership to provide adult leadership for them. We will not be doing out of council brotherhood. There is a possibility that some campsites will change, but we're trying to keep that to a very, very, very limited number, if any. So we'd like scouts to bring their own tents, but scouts who are in the same family unit, so 2 brothers, 2 sisters, whatever it may be, can share a tent if they sleep head to foot. It is suggested that scouts can and should bring additional face coverings with them. So while we're providing a face covering for you for the entire week, it's definitely suggested for the days that maybe it accidentally gets wet going to the waterfront or something like that, that you bring an extra just in case. With this video being released later tonight, We will be also releasing the rotation of badges at each program rotation. A campsite can split between patrol style cooking and dining hall cooking. This is something that you'll talk to Grant about before you come to camp during that pre-camp call. That way we know exactly what meals you'll be in the dining hall and which meals you'll be outside of the dining hall. That way we can properly portion everything. You can definitely still bring in and park troop trailers at the campsite. We definitely understand with everything that's going on, you'll probably need to do so in order to make sure that they're feeling, or that, especially for our patrol style cookers, so that you have everything that you need to be successful. The health check is something super simple, super easy. We check to make sure that you don't have a fever. So 100.4 is kind of the benchmark for that. Then we ask if you've been outside of the country in the last 2 months. We ask if you have any health conditions that would be important for us to know about at camp. And we also ask if you've had any of the symptoms of COVID, which the list can be daunting and large, but it's part of the pre-camp or the pre-screening as well, so that we ask if you're showing a symptom before you come to camp, that you don't come. And then I have scouts coming from Florida Sea Base. When we are coming to camp, they might be a day late. Will that cause an issue? So we want everybody to arrive at that first day, and we only want people doing that switching, that swap on Wednesday. So it's really important that we keep everybody coming in and out of camp all together. That way we don't have the possibility of any potential cross-contamination. All right. With that, I appreciate everybody taking the time to be here, to come on out to this. I appreciate everybody listening. And then I appreciate that everybody's here. I guess I'll answer this last question. Can we order pizza from the local place and pick it up at the road? You can order pizza and pick it up at the road, but one person needs to go and get it. We have a pretty good understanding with the people around us of what's going on. So thank you everybody for showing up and doing everything and being here and listening to me talk for the last 45 minutes. I really appreciate it. So I'll see you all at camp this summer, hopefully. And if not this summer, then definitely next. I'll be here around and camp will be happening and all that good stuff. So I'm really excited to be the camp director and to see everybody at camp. So thank you. Have a good day.